Good morning and welcome to Financial Friday, your end of week financial update from your credit union. We are so glad you could join us. Good morning. I am Crystal Parker, Financial Education and Community Outreach Ambassador, and I'm so glad you could join us today. It is a new year and a new opportunity to try new things, and today we're going to talk about meal planning. For so many folks with this new year, they are wanting to be better with their finances. Perhaps they want to eat better. And one of the things that we can do that really helps us with doing this is meal planning. And so I wanted to share a few tips today and a resource that we have created for you to assist you with this. Down below, you will see a link to this weekly meal planner that we have made for you that you could use. If you have another tool you'd like to use, great, but we have made this to help you out. And this will walk you through meal planning for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, as well as building a shopping list around this plan. One of the things that's really important when it comes to meal planning, when it comes to budgeting, is to having a plan for all of that. And this is a tool that we have found that's really helpful. Each person may go about this in a different way. And I think it's important to note that you have to do this in a way that will work for you as well as the people who live with you. If you live on your own, well, you are in for a treat. You don't have to worry about how this works for other folks. You can do what works just for you. For myself, I am married and I have kids, so I have to take into consideration what's going to work with all of the people I live with. If they don't know what the plan is and only I do, then we're going to start having some trouble because we might have some conflicting tactics to go about this. But I'm happy to share what works for me. I am a paper planner person. I know that I work with technology every day. That might be surprising, but I do prefer my planning to be on paper. And in the monthly spread of my calendar, that is where I write down all of the meals. We do use a meal planner similar to the one that the credit union has created that is on our fridge. And so we look at a week at a time for that plan. But I also like having the monthly to see what have we already done, what meals are we repeating or not repeating or not had in a while. Sometimes it's nice to look back at previous months to get some ideas, because sometimes you might feel like you're stuck in a rut, that you keep making the same things, or perhaps you want to remember that meal that everybody loved because you tried something new and it was a hit. So things like that. So I find that having that monthly spread to keep track of all of the meals that we've planned to be really helpful. But having that weekly plan that everybody can see what's happening. Perhaps I've had a crazy day with work. I don't have time to cook dinner, but my husband can see what's already planned and he can jump in and start cooking that, or see what's already being planned for use and not use it in some creative meal that he's making. So having that plan is really helpful and figuring out a way that works for you. Some like to use a dry erase board, perhaps on the fridge, on the wall. There's a variety of options. I have a friend that has a bunch of meals on kind of like these little cards, and they have this frame hanging up. It's pretty cute. And each day has a different kind of clothespin with the day of the week on it, and they'll clip the different meals. So they've already figured out what other popular meals in their house, have a running list of it, and they'll kind of divvy them up that way. Um, and so you kind of figure out those things. We have a smart device in our home, so we'll work on making that menu, figuring out what things we do not already have in our house that we need to buy, and then we'll tell our smart device to add those things to our shopping list. So digitally, we always have that list with us. We're not going to forget what we need to buy, and that really helps us. So you have a plan. Now, you might wonder, planning's great, but how is this going to help me financially? And that's where, don't just pick things at random. Perhaps look in your refrigerator, look in your freezer, look in your pantry and see what you have. And you could start Googling different ideas of what could you make with the black beans you have. And so you might get some different ideas. But using what you have is going to reduce your grocery bill. It's going to save you money. And then you can start getting a little more creative. It's also important to think about if you're wanting to make things that involve some of the same things. Say you're making spaghetti and meat sauce, but you want to do beef tacos. Perhaps you buy a bigger package of ground beef or ground turkey, if that's your preferred uh, cooking ingredient. But buying those in bulk can save you money instead of buying the individual packages a little bit at a time. And so that's a tool for saving you money. And sometimes you could bulk process. Perhaps you're making the spaghetti sauce at the same time that you're making the tacos, getting those all seasoned up. And then it saves you time later. Another tool that I have found that's really helpful when it comes to meal planning is sometimes designating a type of food for each day of the week. I've said tacos a few times. You might have figured out we do tacos pretty regularly, but it's not always the same type of tacos. One week it might be regular old crunchy hard tacos. Perhaps we do soft tacos one week with a different type of meat. At least once a month, we love to do eggs and chorizo tacos. They're super easy. They're rather inexpensive, and my family always loves eating them. But then we switch up the different types of sides that we might have with them. My youngest loves pasta, so we'll do pasta about every other week. Some weeks we might have it every day. And I'm part Japanese, so it's not uncommon for us to do some Japanese meals at least once a week, if not more often. And then being mindful of eating the leftovers. That really saves you money. There can be that temptation to go out to eat. I think sometimes with the current situation, we might not eat out as often, but eating those leftovers for lunch, or if you have enough, having them for dinner, or making sure that when you cook, you make enough that you can have those for leftovers. We have at least once a week in my house, what's in the kitchen night. And so we're all getting to pick something that's either leftovers or we're just making it work with what we have. But there's typically enough leftovers and things like that where we can cobble together a meal where we're not having to cook a full meal. It saves us time and it saves us a lot of money. So I hope these tools and resources and this information is helpful to you. When you're trying to be healthy, it's hard to be healthy if you don't have a plan and you're not buying those healthy and nutritious things for yourself. So make sure that you're setting yourself up for success, that you have the things that you need. Thank you again for joining us for Financial Friday. I hope this is helpful. If there are topics you would love to see us cover, shoot us a comment, send me an email, fined@henricofcu.org. And we'll see you right here next Friday at 9:30, where we have another great topic to cover for you. This one is about protecting your living space during these winter months. And we have a guest on the show that gives us some really great tools and information that can be very helpful for all of us. So thank you again for joining us, and we'll see you next week. Happy Friday, everyone.